Hi guys, my name is Rachel. So this week we're going to be planting a couple of herbs in containers. Spring is really starting to show itself up and everyone's getting a bit excited about the garden, looking forward to summer, nice dinners on the patio and everything. So we're going to try and show you a nice and easy way to grow herbs in small spaces so that everyone can get a little bit of enjoyment from them over the summer months. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get a little bit creative this time around and show you how to do a nice tiered planter so that we can maximize the space we have for the herbs and bring a little bit of decoration along with it, you know, try and liven things up a little bit. So I've got two planters here that I've got lying around from last year. I had a couple of nice bonsais in them that got a bit big and moved out to the garden, so they've been lying around, so I thought it would be nice to get them into this. So as you can see, they're really good for herbs because they've got some nice big drainage holes in them. Drainage is going to be really key with herb planting. Herbs love water, but they hate sitting in it. So what I've done is I've lined the bottom of both of my pots with a nice healthy layer of grit. And you can see here they've got nice big spacious holes for all the water to get down. In the bottom one, I've filled up about 3/4 of the way. So I've left a nice bit of space along the top here so that I can get some smaller herbs planted. And I've mixed in a nice ratio of perlite with an organic compost that I use called Living Green. This stuff is a nice worm cast compost, which is really fertile and full of nutrients, and it's also organic, which is very important for anything that we're going to be eating or any edibles or anything like that. I like to use organics for everything. Some people don't, but when we're talking about food and stuff, I really would recommend it. So what I'm going to do here is plant a few sun-loving herbs. You could go with some shadier ones if you haven't got a very bright garden, so the thymes, mints are all great for shady areas. I've got loads of sunlight here and quite lucky, so I'm going to be going with some bay, some rosemary, some thyme, parsley, sage, oregano. I've got it all in here, so we're going to just really maximize our output and our harvest and cram them all into this little space. So I've already started with the compost here, and I've left this open to show you the amount of grit that I normally put in. So this is spread out here to leave room around the hole, but I've come up about 1/4 of the way. And that's really just going to make sure that there's lots of water runoff down here. I'm going to throw a little bit more grit down in along the hole here so that I'm not creating pools of water in my bottom layer. And I've already got my drainage added in the bottom of all the soil layer here. So there shouldn't be any issues with my plants being waterlogged. And again, I can't emphasize the drainage. Herbs, once they get enough food in the soil and get enough sunlight, they're not too fussy, they're very easy. But drainage really is going to be the key. They hate sitting in waters. The likes of thyme, oregano, these are all actually almost alpines. So they're really not going to be too happy with it. The rosemary as well is a Mediterranean plant. It likes poor, dry, sandy soil as well as the bay. So if you can keep to that kind of thinking, you'll be going really, really well. So I think I'm just going to spread this around another bit. I might even have a little bit too much in there. I've gone quite deep in my bowl. So I'm going to add in some compost here. And I've got about a 50-50 ratio, I would say there, which is really, really good start. So this top layer of the planter is going to be my focal point. I want everything else to kind of cascade out from the bottom and really fill out with colour. But the ones that stand up on top are kind of going to be the centre point. So we're going to go with some rosemary, a nice tall upright plant. And you can see I've taken it out there and I'm just grabbing the bottom at the top of the plant and tipping it out. And I'm just going to tease the roots again, just to stimulate them, make sure that they're going to get to work taking up water and nutrients really quickly. Just a little pull is fine. And I'm going to get it settled in nice and neatly here towards the back. So you're going to be working with height really and bringing down that level of your plants. So the rosemary and the bay are the most similar in terms of the height that they're going to get. And I'm going to do the same thing with them all, tip them out nicely. Try not to pull the plant from the top because you are going to be putting it under a little bit of pressure, and just tease the roots once again. Just going to move a little bit more soil over and get that down nicely in front of my rosemary. Now, bay and rosemary are also very slow growing plants, so you can plant them a little bit tighter together than you would with some of the rest of them. I've got a nice little mature lemon thyme here as well, and this is fantastic for the fragrance. The fragrance is going to be wafting up at you anyway from all of these, but you can't beat the smell of lemon thyme on a summer's evening. It's beautiful. So just tease the roots ever so gently. And again, I'm being very careful to protect the top of my plant here. My fingers are just laying on it and just kind of nestling it in there until I get down to everything else. And thyme is quite shallow rooted, and you can just take note that I'm just going down far enough that the soil level is really just meeting the top of the pot and I can fill it in. So I'm not going too deeply, again, that my plants are going to be sitting in water, and I'm not leaving them so high that they're going to dry out really quickly on me. So I'm just going to fill in the top rather lightly again. So I'm just meeting both levels of soil together, and that really is perfect planting for your herbs. So that's going to be a nice focal point, I think, there for the top part of my planter. You've got the nice yellow contrasting really nice with the dark green of the bay, and you've got that silver sheen of the rosemary coming up behind it. And the rosemary actually lets off lovely little blue flowers around this time of year as well, when it's kind of matured a little bit. So that's going to be lovely come this time next year even. And these are all evergreen as well and everything, so you don't have to be replanting or anything like that with these little guys. The parsley and the few other bits at the bottom, some of them will have to be changed every year, but at least you're kind of always going to have the foundation of your planter going on there for yourself. So we'll get to work on a few of the smaller ones. As you can see, I've left a nice bit of space along the bottom because everything is, I'm going to plant small annual herbs here. And everything will be kind of coming up. You don't want to underestimate how things grow either. So I'm going to be sticking in a couple of parsleys just to zhuzh up the edges. And again, don't forget that these will all need a nice bit of sun as well. They don't like too much shade. So they will take it and they will tolerate a certain amount of shade, but not too much so. So I'm going to bring them nice and near the front where they're going to get the maximum amount of light. And again, just pinch out of your pots. Just tease the root ball a little bit. Just get those roots activated and they're going to get to work almost straight away. And the parsley will grow up nice and high. It's going to come up and probably just meet up around here by the time that you kind of get out and start snipping at it away and stuff. And just give it a few weeks, let it come on, let it come into itself a little bit before we go too hard on it. Now, I'm also going to plant some oregano here. The oregano is going to grow big fast. Not massive, but it is quite a rapid grower. So I'm going to plant that more towards the edges, and you'll see that all bushing out in the summer months and spilling out over the edges. It'll come up kind of behind the parsley and be a nice little companion for it. So I'm just going to nestle that down there. And you can see I'm not going too hard on planting these down because they're quite young plants. They don't need all that much pressure put on them. So again, tipping it out, being as careful as I can around the edge of the plant itself. Teasing those roots. And just nestling it in there. I'm going to be backfilling again with a little bit of compost in a few minutes to make sure they're well nestled in, but it's going to be mostly drainage around the tops of these that is going to be my biggest concern, especially at this stage. I've got a couple of more little Thymus vulgaris here. So this is the common thyme. I've got my lemon thyme up here just for kind of decorational purposes. The lemon thyme I find is better for fish dishes and stuff as well. It works really well in the kitchen. But the common thyme then will go very well with the oregano and the rosemary and all the Italian lasagnas and bologneses and stuff that people tend to be going for in the summer. I'm going to be doing a tutorial on planting tomatoes as well quite soon. So these are all going to come in really well with the tomato dishes and stuff that I hope you're all going to be cooking in the next couple of months. So I'm going to do 2 thyme at the front because the thyme it can be quite slow growing. It's a bit slower than the rest. So these each side of the front here are just really going to fill it out for me. I've got my 2 parsleys, my 2 oregano, and I think that's going to be a really nice mixture for this planter. It's going to be plenty. Now, I love mint. I love mojitos. Who doesn't? So I'm going to be planting mint as well. Mint can grow anywhere, but I won't be mixing it in with other herbs. Mint is quite invasive. Mint will need its own pot. Even in a bed, it will take over your garden. So I've got a nice little pot here that I'm going to pop some mint into after this. I'm going to grow alongside with my other stuff, just not in the same planter. So there we go. I think we've got enough compost kind of filled in there that all our soil levels are all nice and even. You can see I've got a nice mixture of perlite in there, again, all about the drainage. And then you're going to be sick of hearing me talk about it, but loads and loads of grit, because I think it's got a double function anyway. It does make this pot look more decorative, as well as protect the plants from the rain, which of course we're going to be optimistic and say we're not going to get any this summer, but let's face it, as a nation we got to prepare for the worst. So there's a nice little layer down around all the bottom of my plants there. I'm just going to get some up on top. And again, it's very important around the thyme as well. A lot of people ask me why it's so hard to keep thyme, and it's actually one of the easiest plants to grow. It's very cold hardy, it survives very well in our climate. It just hates water. And it's quite slow on its own as it is. So once you improve the drainage around your thyme and get that grit down underneath it and around it, I think you'll find massive differences in how you're growing your thyme at home. So there we go, guys. We've got a really nice, decorative, double-tiered summer planter of herbs. Nice, easy and convenient. There you go.